Bing bang bitty bitty bong.
It's the Owl Cafe.
This is the Owl Cafe brought to you by us.
This is kind of following our last video, which was our Beauty and the Beast reveal. This is kind of even a kind of a strange turn even for us. We mentioned in our last video that Robbie Rotten and Gaston look really, really similar.
You didn't know is that they're actually lovers.
Like, I didn't know Robbie Rotten was dating himself. I guess Gaston and Robbie Rotten's romance is so inspiring. It prompted somebody to write a fan fiction. I'm not kidding.
It was not us. It was somebody else. That's all I could.
It was somebody else. It's kind of a rainy, stormy night, and now we got our owls, and we're gonna just snuggle up and read some.
This one looks like a duck.
It does, sort of. It's an owl, but it's supposed to be at least.
Okay, so should we?
Okay, so we're gonna just snuggle up and read some classic literature. It's called Beauty and the Beast, Lazy Heart by Policy 368. Shout out to you, Policy 368. We're not gonna probably read the whole fan fiction because I think it's kind of long, but if you want to look it up, I mean, it's the first thing that pops up when you write Robbie Rotten Gaston fan fiction. Don't ask why we know that, but we did, so for your entertainment. Let's get started, Cass, you little shit.
I hate my life almost as much as Kate does.
1,
2, 1, 2, he grunted, waving his trembling arms in the air. Loud music was playing over the speakers as Gaston and Robbie tried to follow Sporticus's quick fleeting dance moves. Zumba? More like Painba.
like me when I'm working out.
I'm already done, it's one paragraph in.
Gaston seemed to be keeping up, though his firm thighs were glistening with sweat. Robbie glanced at him out of the corner of his eye. He could see in Gaston's face the same grim determination that stared him back in the face every time he looked in the mirror. The note, the author wrote a note. I don't know, guys, have fun. It's like they knew we were coming.
Chapter 1!
Like a shooting star.
This is, wow, okay.
Robbie took a moment to straighten out his back and wipe some of the sweat droplets that had gathered on his brow. The day was hot, but his villainous plans were even hotter. Little by little, Robbie had dug a large, wide hole in the ground. Robbie grimaced and rubbed his hands together like so. The sticky dirt from the handle of the shovel was all over his hands, reminding him of when he cried late at night. And his tears mixed with the grime from his pillow. Soon it would be all over. This is better than I thought it would be. Wow. There was the blimp, fat and shiny like Sporticus's muscles. Why did I think that? Question mark, exclamation point. Robbie mentally cursed himself. He was not even noticing the mayor's muscles when he strained to pick up his briefcase.
My turn, goody. A loud, manly spurt of laughter jolted Robbie from his thoughts. It was laughter that he didn't recognize, and it was coming from the blimp. Robbie squinted. Did Sporticus actually have friends? There was only one way to find out. Oh, help! Robbie shouted delicately. My saxophone fell in the hole! As he predicted, the swoosh of Sporticus's dab. Robbie's heart began pounding as he crouched to hide behind a low bush. Thump! The ground shook and Robbie winced, grinning maliciously until he looked up and saw two strong, thick legs. The legs didn't even belong to Sportabrat. Robbie's eyes slowly traveled up the man's body, and he felt his eyes heat up. He took in meaty thighs, a tight stomach, voluptuous pecs with a broad chin and deep brown eyes.
You know who this is.
The man's eyes appraised his own body, a gorgeous smirk settling on his face. kiss, Robbie stuttered. The man's smirk widened into a grin. I had decided to handle this. Now I'm glad that I did.
How original.
Robbie fought a blush and scowled. Well, I don't actually need help, so please exit the premises. The man laughed with the deep, rich laugh that Robbie had heard earlier. No, this just got interesting. Now, what is your name? Robbie Rotten. What is it to you? Robbie muttered. Robbie, I am Gaston, the strongest man alive, and I happen to need someone to guide me around this sweet hamlet of yours. The fuck? What about Sportaglove? Isn't he your friend? I don't even know what the fuck to think anymore.
Oh, shit.
Just take over.
What about Sportaglove? Isn't he your friend? Gaston's full bottom lip. Wait, what? Gaston's full bottom lip curled. Is he? It can be just the two of us. For some reason, Robbie's heart began beating just a little bit faster. He swallowed hard and willed more annoyance into his voice. Fine.
Oh, there's more!
Chapter 2, Closer Than Strangers. Finally, Stephanie and her little brigade of gremlins playing some sort of ninja game that required utter silence so Robbie could enjoy the calm atmosphere of the sunny day.
Others. Where are my french fries?
The larger man was striding along, admiring the little houses and exclaiming over Stingy's disgusting waistcoat abandoned by the wayside. The mayor had installed a new sculpture of a cow in the park with absolutely no reason to.
That's something we would do.
Robbie told him about the cannon he had tried to build earlier that year and has touched Robbie's shoulder sympathetically when Robbie had gotten choked up about his struggle with loneliness.
Cassidy's taking this personally.
Robbie couldn't remember the last time he had opened up so completely to someone he barely knew. In fact, he never had. No one
Twerks like Gaston.
makes it work like Gaston.
No one drops down that booty and jerks like Gaston. He be up in the club with that ass gyrating. My, he's so fly, that Gaston.
Robbie stopped and turned to face Gaston. That's it. This is Lazy Town. It isn't a bad place to live as long as the kids stay quiet. Yeah, me too. What do you have against Sporty anyway? He seems like a chill guy. Sporty? He has no boundaries, always creeping into my territory like an acrobatic worm.
Sporty, he has no boundaries. Always keeping my territory like an acrobatic worm. Yeah, that's actually written there.
Everything was fine until that jerk decided to interfere. Robbie felt sudden tears in his eyes. No, Robbie, I think you guys are more alike than you think. Sporty has his own problems too. Oh, here we go. The comment was cryptic as heck, but Robbie didn't want to let any seed of sympathy into his heart. Whatever, as long as he stays far from me, even though it always made Robbie feel worse about himself. So he went home and sobbed on the floor of his cave. There's still one place you haven't shown me. Huh? Grunted Robbie, still lost in thought. Could feel his hot breath on his face. It made him dizzy and somehow smelled like raw eggs. Your house, of course. Oh boy, this was gonna be interesting. Like, you know, sometimes people want, like, a bedtime story. This is a good bedtime story.
Tell the story to your kids. Chapter 3, This Feeling. Robbie was a little hesitant about showing Gaston his home. There was nothing particularly interesting down there aside from his fluffy orange chair. It was the only place he had to himself. The only place he could find refuge against the obnoxiousness of those stupid kids.
Like, that reminds me, like, how a teacher would think if when they were like...
The teacher's lounge, yeah.
Yeah,
my refuge from those stupid kids, yeah. How my teachers used to talk about me. He wasn't sure he wanted to show the place to someone he just met, no matter how voluptuous that person's
Voluptuous.
No matter how voluptuous that person's biceps may be.
That makes me think of Beyonce. I feel like that would be one of her adjectives.
So, speaking of, Maybe that was his way out. Gaston was so beefy that there was a chance he wouldn't fit through the numerous tubes and tunnels that led to his underground lair. He turned to appraise said muscles. See something you like? At least he was getting used to the rather forward comments Gaston kept making. No, baka!
No, baka! You want me to keep going or you want to keep going?
In case you didn't know, anime girls say when a guy's getting too close, they're like, Becca! Just wondering if you could even get into my lair. You are rather broad. Yeah, you're right. Wouldn't want to clog the pipes now, would we? He clapped Robbie on the back, and Robbie could have sworn he felt his shoulder blades cave in. I guess. Well, in that case, I guess this is goodbye.
Yes.
Robbie refused to let the emotions in his heart take form. Hey, chin up. Gaston's gentle hand was under Robbie's chin, lifting his face up to let their eyes meet. Before Robbie could process this, Gaston had leaned forward and kissed him on both cheeks. Robbie was stunned. His face tingled. What the heck? That's how we say goodbye where I'm from. Now be good while I'm gone. Okay?
Like French people say, okay.
Now be good while I'm gone, wee wee.
Bonjour French fries.
With that, Gaston sped off, heading towards Sporticus's blimp, leaving Robbie standing in the street. A single tear made its way down his cheek.
Chapter 4, Chasing You. He had a vague idea that he was supposed to be chasing something, but he had no idea what it was. Desperate to have it in his grasp, Robbie opened his eyes. A single ray of dusty sunlight was falling through a hole in his roof and illuminating his face. But he couldn't quite remember what it was about, and Robbie didn't particularly care. Why is he thinking about it then? Most of his dreams were depressing anyways. Robbie rolled out of bed and stretched. His gangly limbs almost touched the ceiling. When he stood, his greasy queef got
What? Quiff! Cassidy! Quiff! It says quiff, people, okay?
His squeaky quiff got slightly squished. When Robbie had first arrived in Lazy Town as a teenager, not that long ago, now that he thought about it, he'd chosen the dark cave because it was cheap and private. It was his only escape from Sporty Idiot and those miserable kids. Again, what teachers think when they go in the teacher's lounge. Robbie was a little fond of Stingy, a kid after his own shriveled heart. Get rid of Sporty cuss word.
Get rid of Sporty fuck!
Sporty fuck. Maybe he could see Gaston. No, Gaston had nothing to do with this. Robbie did not want to see Gaston. He didn't want to hear Gaston. He didn't want to smell his sweat or feel the brush of his thick armpit hair. Okay. That danged acrobat! It's a bunch of A's, so yeah. He could feel a headache coming on. You want to.
Chapter 5, Tension Between Us. Robbie looked doubtfully at the canister clutched in his sweaty palm. He was terrified that at any moment, one of the kids would come around and see him. Oh, the shame. Quickly, he plopped the canister into the mail hole.
A mailbox! I'm gonna hide in there because no one's gonna suspect the mailbox.
Not doing that again. And have that, and pull the lever. With a whoosh of air, the canister shot off into the atmosphere, and Robbie could only hope that it would hit a bird on his way up. He was in that kind of mood.
You're an asshole! I know. It's okay, I know this is hard for you, Owl, I know it is.
Up in his blimp, Sporticus was finishing up a round of hot yoga with Gaston.
Hot yoga. Not cold yoga, hot yoga.
It was so nice having someone who could reach his level of physical skill. Well, Gaston wasn't quite as flexible, but he could toss Sporticus right into the air like a little baby. And he looked great in a yoga towel. There's a beeping noise, the indicator of incoming mail. Sporticus somersaulted over to pluck the mail canister from the mail chute. "Ston, we got mail!" Short for Gaston. Gaston wandered over, wiping his face. Sweat was dripping like rain. He slung an arm around Sporticus's shoulder.
Who's it from?
Sporticus popped open the tube and pulled out the letter. His eyes widened and his heart skipped a dang beat. Gaston laughed quietly in his ear.
Why am I being guessed on?
Robbie? Robbie sent me a letter? Is that surprising? I guess I don't understand why you guys hate each other. Gaston placed his hands over Sporticus and gently unfolded the paper. There it was! Robbie's crabbed handwriting.
Crabbed handwriting? What was...
Crabbed handwriting. The note was short. "Can I come up there?" Sporticus was frozen where he stood. Why in the heck of all hecks would Robbie Rotten, the town creep and strange and the town creep and strangely attractive villain, want to come into his blimp? Sporticus was a little suspicious. Nevertheless, he couldn't quite pass up the chance to get closer to Robbie and his tight maroon pants.
Gotta be maroon. Gotta be maroon.
Gaston, would you be a sweetheart and go down and fetch him for me? I have to freshen myself up. Sporticus grinned at Gaston, whose face was inches from his own. I would be delighted. As Gaston opened the porthole and dove into the clouds, Sporticus ran into his bedroom and pulled on a fresh pair of pants, his extra tight ones.
Ooh. He's ready to be like Beyonce.
They fire! He didn't put on a shirt because he happened to know how amazing his muscles looked when covered in a fresh sheen of sweat. He added a little eyeliner to his mustache to primp it up, a trick he learned from his father.
Oh, this got really, really out there.
I'm going to take that advice and
freshen up your
eyeliner
mustache.
in my mustache. And he arranged himself in a chair, trying to hide the excitement on his face. It wasn't every day Robbie was taken out of his element, and Sporticus intended to make the most of it. With a loud thump, Gaston landed on the launch deck of the blimp.
The blimp. I laugh every single time. Blimp's such a weird word.
Robbie was draped in his arms like an extremely angry princess. His cheeks were extremely red and he looked highly embarrassed. Sporticus guessed it was because he was in the presence of two such imposing men.
Dang.
Well, hello, Robbie. Sporticus grins like only a sports elf can.
A sports elf?
What brings you out of the dirt and into the skies? Robbie pushed himself out of Gaston's arms. Ugh, and landed on his feet, quickly taking in his surroundings. He definitely looked out of place. I wanted to chat. Sporticus choked on the celery stick he'd been nibbling. Chat? Why in the heck? Robbie looked so uncomfortable it made Sporticus's heart ache for him. Or maybe it was aching with suppressed laughter, like me. Either way, Sporticus was enjoying himself immensely.
Yeah.
Robbie scratched his wrinkly forehead. I was hoping to study the living habits of sports elves and their friends. Robbie glanced at Gaston, which took Sporticus by surprise. What interest could someone like Robbie have in someone like Gaston? What are you doing, Cass?
getting hot in here.
Well, well, well. Sporticus leaned back in his chair, pretending to mull it over. I guess I could let you do that in the name of science. My grandfather won the Nobel Prize for astrogastronomics, so science has a tender home in my heart. I would love to be the subject of your examinations. Sporticus winked. Robbie blushed angrily, and Gaston chuckled.
Ho, 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 ho.
Baka! So, will I stay up here with you guys, or what? Of course! I'm helping Gaston regain some of his memory, which he lost in a tragic boating accident.
Wow, how convenient.
So you will be able to see us at our physical limits. It will be quite educational.
Quite.
Especially for someone of your stature. Sporticus eyed Robbie's toothpick arms. This is a train wreck. Robbie was practically boiling with rage now. You could see the regret in his eyes, but for some reason it was tempered with a hint of determination. There was more to the situation than Sporticus had first realized. 2 days. I'll stay here for 2 days. Sporticus clapped delightedly and did a backflip for good measure.
I'm not doing a backflip, that's too much.
Splendid!
Wow.
Gaston, show him to the other spare room, would you?
Haha, spare room.
If Sporticus was evil, which of course he wasn't, he would have done an evil laugh. But instead he did 10 clapping push-ups.
Clapping
This
push-ups?
was-
This does not sound fun at all.
This was going to be so much fun!
Well, I hope you guys had fun because this was really... This
was traumatizing for us.
It really was.
Smiling through the pain.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like the author knew this was gonna happen. That's why he told us to have fun, guys. Shout out to Policy 368 on archiveofourown.org. Just
Thank you for,
your contribution.
to our channel. That was very nice of you. Thank you for the jig. Does no one want to support this? Did you see this
Kate.
video? It's worth supporting!
Kate, you gotta breathe. Our channel really isn't worth supporting.
No,
We're just
it's not. This channel sucks.
It really does, but that's okay. But hey, if you still want to see whatever the heck this was...
That's my line! To see more of whatever the heck this was, click like and subscribe. Bye!
This was a weird-ass episode of Owl Cafe. I'm used to talking about Girl Scouts and shit, not this fucking weird shit.
Probably.